You can tell by popular culture that there's all sorts of traditions that surround St. Patrick's Day. Some people have St. Patrick's Day parties filled with all sorts of clovers and green decorations. Others, they dye their beer green somehow. You see in New York City, they even dye a river green. You see, the other day, actually it was yesterday, I saw a man dressed as a leprechaun exiting the back part of the building. And I thought there must be something very interesting going on there. And then there are people that wear green on St. Patrick's Day. Like some of you are clearly wearing a bright green. I remember when I was a priest, I got into my first assignment, after a St. Patrick's Day Mass, I had someone come up to me and pinch me. I said, "What is happening?" I said, "Please don't do that." So the next year, I said to everyone, on St. Patrick's Day, I know some of you like to pinch people, but I want you to know something. I know Kung Fu. If you try to pinch me. So there's a lot of different cultural things about St. Patrick, but when we look at the man himself, the man who was willing to risk his life to share the gospel, it's really a different story. Like what we see here is that St. Patrick was 16 years old in Britain, and he was carried away by pirates to be a slave in Ireland. He was a slave for 6 years, working as a shepherd on a farm. And as he was a slave, what began to happen is that this kid just keeps running around. I love it. You're going to be a St. Patrick one day. So what happened was, he was enslaved, right, for 6 years. And at that time, he drew close to God. And God started speaking to him, and he started to grow in his own faith. And he had a dream about how to escape. So he escapes back to England. What does he do? He has another dream, and God speaks to him through that dream. There's a man, this man appeared to him in the dream, and he had the bundle of letters with him. And as he had brought these bundle of letters to St. Patrick, he gives him one of them, which was named at the top, "The Voice of the Irish." And as he's reading through this letter, he hears these voices that say, "Come, we beg you, holy youth, walk among us again once more." So he had this dream of God sending him back to the very place of slavery, to the place of darkness, to the place where he was almost killed. And so God sent him to this place of Ireland again. So he spent the next 20 years preparing to be a missionary to Ireland. And he was made a priest, then he was ordained a bishop, and then he went forward to declare the gospel to a people who lived in darkness, to ultimately a nation or a place that was pagan. One of the stories of St. Patrick that I find a lot of inspiration from is that when he was there was a great, the great high king said there's no fires allowed in all of Ireland, except the high king's fire. And so St. Patrick, because it was Easter Vigil, he decided to light a bonfire on the largest hill in all of in that whole region. He lit the Easter Vigil fire in defiance to the king. Because what Patrick was doing was declaring to the nation, declaring to the people that the light that you need to be following is the light of Christ. And so he lit this as a symbol of the light of Christ coming to Ireland. And he went around the whole kind of the countryside and converted thousands of people, founded churches and monasteries. And this is the story that our whole logo in our parish is based off of, right? We have this flame. And the flame has two parts. There's a smaller flame and a larger flame. And together, these two parts of the flame make the one light of Christ. And so the smaller part of the flame is us. And when the Holy Spirit, the bigger flame, comes together with us, we become the light of Christ to the surrounding nation, to the surrounding area. And so the truth is that Patrick was able to do this precisely because he was a man in love with the people of Ireland. Think about it this way. He's willing to go into darkness, to make a great personal risk, to almost die, to bring the light of Christ to the people of Ireland. One of the things that we need to remember as parishioners of St. Pat's is that this is what our parish exists for, is to bring the light of Christ into what is seeming to be an increasingly dark world. And St. Patrick did this because he loved the Irish people. St. Patrick didn't love the darkness. We don't love the darkness in our culture. But we love the people in the darkness. And unless we're willing to step back from harshly judging those who fall and prey to the darkness, we're not going to have enough love to go out and bring the light of Christ to the world. And one of the things that really inspires me is that it is precisely when we know who we are as Christians, as light, that we have the greatest capacity and the greatest chance of bringing life and light to the people we know and the people we love. And so that means everywhere you are in your profession, you are light. As members of this parish, you are sent out as light. If you're a doctor, I am light in the Lord. If you're a teacher, I am light in the Lord. If you're an engineer, I am light in the Lord. If you are blessing people around you in volunteer service, in any profession, I am light in the Lord. And when we live out of that, that's precisely when we can really regain, if you may, the people that are really increasingly being stuck into the darkness. My brothers and sisters, today we celebrate a great saint who is willing to risk everything to bring the light of life, the light of Christ, to those who did not have it. So the question I have is, do you love the people around us? Do we love the people around us enough to make sacrifices to bring them the light of Christ? It is through the intercession of St. Patrick that we go forth to do this. It is through the intercession of all the saints that we take seriously this call to evangelize. And when we do that, we're capable of not converting a whole nation of Ireland, but we're capable of bringing God's light around here, which is really our mission. And when we do that, we not only glorify God, but we live up to the name of St. Patrick, after whom this parish is named.